What's up, everyone? I'm going to do an Overwatch 2 review. And as a player with 33 minutes in competitive and 50 hours combined on both games, I do believe I have enough credibility to give a solid review. Yeah, well, anyways, let's get into it. So let's start off with launch. Launch was very interesting. They honestly had probably the worst launches you could possibly have. And that may be an over-exaggeration, but when you have a player queue that took 3 hours just to get disconnected after 30 minutes of playtime, it's a pretty crappy launch, if you ask me. See, I didn't play during launch day. I was waiting for a computer to get in, so I had my setup all tore up apart, and I didn't really even want to try to set it up to play, and I'm happy I didn't because I watched a couple of my friends play Overwatch 2, and after they get in, a couple games go by, and then they're disconnected, sitting in the waiting queue again. So, yeah, it wasn't very good launch day, and this happened for 3 days, I believe, 4 days. What I did to get around this for second, third, fourth days, I just went to European servers because they weren't as crowded, but I just got off of European servers, I think 2 days ago. So there goes to show how long the player queue lasts. Another thing that was pretty crappy during launch was the hero lock. And what happened there is you would go to pick your hero, but they weren't unlocked. You were confused, and what it would say is you'd have to get it through the battle pass or completing hero challenges or challenges just for that hero. Now, that's all fine, but you go to the challenges and it says there are none. Turns out this was just a bug and technically wasn't during launch, but happened before I did this review, so I'm throwing it in there with the launch complaints. So another thing that happened was to get Overwatch 2, if you had Overwatch 1, you had to have your phone number into your Blizzard account and all that. A lot of players actually weren't able to play Overwatch 2 because apparently their phone provider and Blizzard didn't get along or whatever, and they couldn't play. So I don't know if that's been fixed. There was a big phone company that actually had this issue. I don't remember. I think it was Cricket or something like that, I believe. That was probably the biggest thing that kind of sucked for a lot of people because that could have been a permanent issue. I do think they got most of them fixed though. But that was a big thing for launch because they lost a lot of players there. Another thing that sucked during launch was Ddos attacks. So let's say the queue went away pretty quickly. I mean, like I said, 3 to 4 days. It went by pretty quick, but still, some people are still now getting kicked off the servers, and they say it's due to Ddos attacks. And I mean, it's been a week or maybe past a week a little bit since the game's release. And if we're still having DDoS attacks, there's a problem there. But I think they're working on getting it fixed. So hopefully that's all said and done by the time I post this video. Well, anyways, let's go down to what I do like about the game. So the biggest thing I do like about the game is going from a 6v6 to a 5v5. And that's a crazy good thing. I mean, I love it personally. I'm not a big fan of the tanks, period. I know they do a lot of work, but I don't personally like them because all they do is throw up a shield and you got to just destroy the shield. I understand that's a part of some of the objectives and things like that, but when you have two of them compared to one, you start to say, tanks ain't that bad. But in Overwatch 1, when I played it, I just hated it. It was not fun. You're just shooting at a shield or you're shooting at the tank. The main objective was a tank. No one would go for their priority. And now, I feel like more people are going for the priority. I also feel people are now going for more of their priority, basically. Like, your attacks are going after the healers. Things along that nature. No one's fighting who they shouldn't be. They aren't just trying to go for a shield. But yeah, that's a big thing for me. I love the 5v5. I believe the change of heroes and the new heroes. I'm not usually a big fan of when people change the heroes, and adding new heroes is alright when they're not game breaking. And now I do believe that new heroes are pretty good. They aren't game breaking. They're pretty balanced, if I should say so, you know. Junker Queen's probably my favorite at this point out of the new heroes. Soldier's pretty good as well. But they're all pretty balanced. The healer I'm not too big of a fan of. I mean, she's pretty good, but nothing too crazy. I still will believe in Zen and Ana, all of them. I think they overtop her, but the rest are pretty good. The changes to heroes, I believe all of them was a plus. There was none, in my opinion, that weren't. I mean, Orissa's now a powerhouse, in my opinion, compared to what we used to do, which is just Reinhardt. I mean, it's just, they made it a little bit different. Talking about Orisa, I do believe those changes have made the game a little bit more fast-paced. And if you don't know me, I love fast-paced games. There are a few dislikes that I have to state about Overwatch 2. And one of the bigger ones is the Battle Pass. I'm a big fan of the Battle Passes in most games, but it is scary what they become. So I'm worried the more seasons that go by, the more Battle Passes that go through, the more they start reaching out there and trying to like say, well, we can make more money if we do this, more money if we do that. And then it becomes pay to win, which is very scary when it comes to competitive based games, because then everyone's just seeing how big their pockets are just to get a certain gun, just to get a certain character, things along that nature. Obviously, we aren't there yet, but it can be a problem further down the road we get. I mean, it's not a big issue now, but it can be. That's just basically it. Another thing that I do have to state is it's just Overwatch 1. Honestly, it's the same game. I mean, there's a few updates. It's Overwatch 1 just with a big update. The main reason for Overwatch 2 isn't out yet, and I believe they should have released Overwatch 2 with all their big updates. They just honestly released a few new characters, 5v5, changes of characters, that's it. That's my personal opinion, obviously. They probably, in someone else's eyes, they shouldn't have kept it Overwatch 1. But in my opinion, they should have. But in all, is it a good game? Yes. If you don't have Overwatch 1, I do believe it's a valuable game to purchase. You won't be regretting it. That's all I really got to say. Thanks for watching.